All right, so I got Sarah to help me with this. We're going to review this and see if she can help me understand what this argument is, because I don't understand it. Let's listen.
It's about a hermeneutic that can appropriate things that have non-Christian origins in a Christianly responsible way.
Okay. Your response,
Yes,
Marcia.
I want to say I am not using the genetic fallacy. I'm very aware. Something I learned in seminary was my seminary was very apologetics oriented, so we were taken through all the ideas of fallacies, and I had to take a course in logic. And it is not the genetic fallacy, because the genetic fallacy only applies if you are basing your whole argument just on the fact of the origins, or if the origins don't matter. But sometimes the origins do matter. You know, if I said this is a glass of medicine for your stomach flu, and it was really just a glass of Kool-Aid, well, the origin would matter. If it was from medicine or from Kool-Aid, it would matter. So the origin does matter in this case, because you're looking at a person to understand them, supposedly. Therefore, it's got to be based on something, right? It's got to be based on objective data about personality theory or about different kinds of people and how that is all set up in some kind of chart. But that's not the way this came about. And actually, psychologists don't accept the Enneagram. I've had many Christian psychologists tell me this is pseudoscience, and it's not used in the professional field of psychology. We have Dr. Jay Medenwalt is a Christian psychologist who has looked at the Enneagram and looked at some of the claims, the testing for it, which was all done by New Agers and never published in peer-reviewed journals. It basically fails this psychometric test, which is how you test personality tests. So it fails that test. So there's two issues here. One is the genetic fallacy apply? And the other is, does a genetic fallacy matter if what you're dealing with is invalid to begin with? If it's invalid to begin with, then there is no reason for a Christian to use it. It's kind of like saying, is astrology valid? If astrology is not valid, I mean, Todd, you said you could take something with non-Christian origins and use it. Do you really think that you could use astrology for personality understanding? Because I just told you how accurate people thought it was.
All right, so what do you get out of that? What was the counter argument?
Well, she was saying, I'm not using the genetic fallacy because I have other reasons besides that to discount the Enneagram. That's what she's saying, which is okay. I can accept that.
Wait, okay, keep going.
I get a little bit annoyed when people say things like, I took a class when I was young. And I would never make that mistake, because in my classes when I was younger, they taught us about that. That's not.
Okay, so that was it. Because I didn't even see that argument, because it was just I was
then
like,
she just rambled for a long time. Like, she was doing a thing where she just kind of kept talking about like new topics, and that was so you just sort of get lost. You know.
Okay. So I think that okay, so with what you said, that might be part of the argument itself, because her saying it's not a genetic fallacy because I have other arguments, the rambling might be a way of her demonstrating the other arguments.
That's what she was trying to do.
That's what she was trying to do.
It was like, we didn't ask you to do that at this point, and I just think some people could be more direct and be like, I have other arguments, and those arguments are X, Y, and Z, instead of just sort of like hinting at it. I don't know. I did this in a business meeting today at work. Like, somebody was like, we want to do market research with your company, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, we're specifically asking if we can use your email list to send out a survey. You know what I mean? Like they would not know that that's what we were asking for, and be able to talk to the end client about it with this, like, we want to do market research. It's like, yeah, they don't know what that means.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah.
she's kind of doing that, where
that
she's
vague.
sort of rambling and hinting at these other ideas. But it seems like her main other argument is like,
that is not valid. That one, or
yeah, you can't take something with non-Christian origins and apply it in a Christian way. That's like her other argument. And I'd like to see her use something other than astrology as an example.
Yeah.
Because that's obviously a straw man.
Yeah. I mean, our numbers don't come from. Numbers are Arabic. Our numbers come from, like, you know.
Yeah,
like,
I just mean like
Christmas doesn't have a Christian origin. Easter doesn't have a Christian origin.
Yeah, Christmas is a really good.
Christmas doesn't have a Christian origin. The Christian wedding doesn't have a Christian origin. There's a Zoroastrian origin. But here's the thing I want to address with this.
Also, how do you determine the origin of something? So she says, like,
That's
if you have a stomach ache and I give you medicine versus Kool-Aid, well, the origin of that is that it's medicine, or the origin of that is that it's Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, well, the origin of it could be traced back to, like, this pharmaceutical.
from Donald Trump.
Yeah, like this.
Donald Trump supported this in medicine, and now it's like
right, but like a real origin is like this pharmaceutical company made it, and we know that their testing has been corrupt in other things. So the testing on this one could have been corrupt. Therefore, you know what I mean. So and then how far back do you want to go? Like they did the testing on it, but this specific compound was discovered by this person.
Yeah,
it's like
this
how far
other
back you can keep going and going.
Yeah.
And going.
Yes, and that's the thing, and I'll share the link. I'm gonna put, like, as I do this, I'm gonna stop at certain part. Maybe when they talk about the origins, and I'll put a chart with the actual origins that can be debated. Everyone just goes, this person said it, this person did it, this person, and it's a one-off thing. I'll give you a list of all the people who could possibly be creators and the lineage and the dates, right? And then you'll have to choose a date that is the one that you hold to and then argue from there. I'm tired of this ping pong back and forth. No, I'm claiming this person. But I want to address what you said. What I think is a valid interpretation of what she said is that it's not a genetic fallacy because I have other arguments. So basically, this is the thing I don't like about that, is that basically what that means is that you can actually commit the genetic fallacy as long as you have other arguments behind it.
Well, because the reason it's a fallacy is because this thing is bad just because of where it came from. That is a fallacy. But it's bad because of where it came from and 10 other things about it.
Well, but here's the thing, though. If the genetic fallacy doesn't hold up on its own, and it needs these other ones, isn't it in a way a red herring? Because me addressing it as a genetic fallacy doesn't actually accomplish anything.
Yeah.
Because okay, so this is I've seen people do this. So you address this genetic fallacy, like, oh, I got these other arguments, and then you address the other arguments, and they move back to the idea that it's genetic fallacy.
Well, she
so
kind of did that.
Yeah, and she did do that. Yeah, she did move because. She said, oh, and New Age origins. So, like, in the middle of her explaining there's other arguments, in the middle of this just now, she said New Age origins. So, like, the person who does that, a way of stalling out the logic is saying, oh, oh, well, I have other arguments. And they start just like, oh, well, genetic fallacy. And then basically you're trying to stamp them down on some ground, and they're just, like, scurrying all over the place. Marcia Montenegro.
She was a professional astrologer for 8 years. This is interesting. So she's like a former New Ager.
Right. Well, this is what I think happened. She's an astrologer. She was making money because you can make crazy money. I feel like that was her only qualifications because that's the only thing that she ever lists as far as her qualifications. And what do you do if you're a has-been astrologer? Well, you make money off of your expertise in astrology. And that's tangentially connected to the New Age and tangentially connected to the Enneagram. So basically, her having that profession, now I can tell the Christians, like, you know, watch out for this stuff. And she can sell, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a good, like, and Christians will, she just uses this umbrella New Agey thing to incorporate everything. So her expertise is in astrology, but now she becomes, by association, an expert in all things that are related to New Age. And that's where I think she gets the credibility for the Enneagram. Because she, like, says that she went to the school and she heard about the Enneagram. She didn't, like, really get in depth into it and learn about it. But she's the expert because she has expertise in something that's adjacent to it, so to speak. But yeah, I was wondering. That's when I heard this. I was like, what the hell was that argument? Like, a large portion of it, which if this isn't what she's saying, that she wasted way too much time doing it, is that I have other arguments, giving those other arguments, and then falling back on the genetic fallacy, and then saying it doesn't matter if I'm doing the genetic fallacy because it's based on nothing anyway. So now she's going back and forth between the genetic fallacy and other arguments, and then even if you prove that wrong, it doesn't matter because ultimately it's based on nothing. So she has 3 spots that she can hop on.
Yeah, I mean, it's dumb. That to me was like a cop-out as well. Like, I have permission to commit a fallacy if the thing is invalid, and it's like, yeah, but if you're proving that it's invalid by doing the fallacy,
right?
Like, then that's
yeah.
You haven't talked your way out of that.
Yeah,
though.
but and that's why I don't. This is one of the things I've seen people do. They have like these 3 arguments, and they move from one to another. They've linked them in this like thing where it's like genetic fallacy. Oh no, I'm not genetic fallacy. I have other reasons. It's bad because of this. And then if you don't accept those, and I don't have anything left, well, it's also false.
Yeah.
Like, so these don't matter because it's not based on anything.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do you know it's false? Because it comes from crappy origins, and they just like circle through those like ad nauseum.
Yeah.
And then you waste presumably, possibly an hour trying to chase it down. We gonna see if it happens. But anyway, that's all I wanted. I wanted to do a little intermission on that.
I'll be the Nia to your Billboard.
The Nia to my Billboard.